of, and I can tell you the exact moment. It was my third show in premiere. Some of you know this story. It was my neighbor right across the street. And I will back this up 1 second for the new jewelers in here. I don't have a family member within a 1,200-mile radius of my home. To this day, 12 years later, I have never done a home show for a family member, ever. So if your family is not supportive or they're not willing, you don't need that. We have the most awesome jewelry with the most awesome hostess plan. Do not fret if you don't have family around or they're not willing to do a show for you. You don't need them to. My business started with 3 of my neighbors and 2 of my coworkers from the hospital. I had 5 shows at my training show, and my business has gone from that point. But it was that 3rd show, my neighbor right across the street. I literally carried my little bag over there. It was during the summer. I actually started in June. June 24th is my anniversary date, and my training show was actually July 22nd. It was almost a month later. So I started right at this time of the year, which I happen to think is a great time to start, because you start your family and your friends, carries you right into the fall. So if you all have prospects right now with this promotion and this time of year, this is the time to sign people. But I walked across the street to that little show. It wasn't very many people there, about 6 people, but it was my neighbor and her mom was there. I'd met her mom, but I didn't know her well. She loved the jewelry. And her mom spent about $600 on the jewelry. Okay, yeah, if you guys think I get hot and sweaty now, that was even before menopause. I was sweating up a storm. I was so happy, I couldn't even stand it. I thought, I can't even believe this. Well, the show ended up being about $1,200 with her mom's order. I was there for 2 hours. I trot back across the street with my little bag, and I walk in the house, and I said, "Steph, oh, I just made $600." He goes, "The show was $600?" I don't know. The show was $1,200. I just made $600. I need to quit my job. Well, again, he didn't have a very nice response. But the light went on right there. And I thought, you know what, there is something to this. If I really put some effort into this, I can make something out of this, and it'll be a whole lot more than the $487.10 that I get every Friday from the hospital. Because that was my pay every single Friday. I hadn't had a raise in 3 years. We were on a pay freeze, and I was at the top of my pay scale. So the only thing that I was ever going to get was maybe a little 3% cost of living raise, and as I said, we hadn't had that in 3 years. So my paycheck was the same thing every Friday. I had done that in 1 show. So in my mind, I'm already thinking, if I could do 2 or 3 of these a week, this is it. I'm going to pay off these cards. I'm going to change this whole thing around. And I went at it hard. Now, keep in mind, I'm working full time. My kids were in all sorts of activities, and not just activities after school, but my son was on a traveling ice hockey team. So we left on Fridays. Haley is still scarred from the many hockey tournaments that she had to endure. We left every Friday, and we weren't home till late in the afternoon on Sunday. We did not have the computer to enter your shows. It was all on paper, and it was in triplicate. And so I worked during the day. I was doing 2 to 3 shows in the evening, gone every weekend, and I'm filling out all of this paperwork and sending in these shows. But what was happening is I was paying off some credit card debt. The money was rolling in. Were they all $1,200 shows? Absolutely not. But having that many shows every week was getting me 1, 2, 3 bookings that was going on the next month. And so I was developing a really consistent business for myself. I continued to torment